Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine has been going on for more than 4 years. What was supposed to end in triumph in 3 days has dragged on in disgrace for 1,460 days. And there is no end in sight to this disgrace. What was supposed to give every Russian a sense of greatness has turned into a catastrophe on both a national and a personal everyday level. Without a doubt, this is already one of the most unsuccessful and humiliating wars of the failed empire. And do you remember how it all began?
We'll raise an eyebrow. And Ukraine will understand. We'll take Kyiv in just a few days.
Hot war. We'll defeat Ukraine in 2 days. Why even bother defeating it? My God, it's just Ukraine. We suppressed those firing points, and here we are discussing this commercial break.
Russians sincerely believed the deranged propaganda that attacking a 40 million strong country, that's a good idea. To punish the disobedient little Russians, put Europe in its place, and show the US who's boss. What could be better?
The descendants tore down Lenin monuments in Ukraine. They call it decommunization. You want decommunization? Well then, that suits us just fine. But as they say, there's no need to stop halfway. We are ready to show you what real decommunization means for Ukraine.
But from the very first hours of the invasion, Russia's greatness was put in the pose of a shaman on Lake Baikal. The first to feel it were the paratroopers with flowers and bread who landed in Hostomel. In principle, after this operation of turning them into ground meat, the war should have been stopped. It's not easy at all, yes, it's not whole. Alright, as it turned out, Ukrainian intelligence was waiting in Hostomel for the boys in underwear and striped shirts. At the Gayar, preparations for a major war were underway even before the full-scale invasion began. Special attention was given specifically to the airport in Hostomel, which was supposed to become the springboard for capturing Kyiv. So the Kremlin's plan immediately followed the same path as the cruiser Moskva. The cruiser Moskva itself also became a loud signal that Russia had committed suicide by attacking Ukraine.
I'm just furious about the flagship of the Black Sea Fleet, the Moskva. And when we say yes, it was many years old, yes, it had undergone repairs, yes, this series of ships really does have vulnerabilities, birth defects. I understand all of that. Just explain to me, how did you manage to lose it?
After this maritime fiasco and the rout near Kyiv, Chernihiv, and Sumy, even the most die-hard ultra-patriots realized that they had miscalculated somewhere, and that Kyiv would not be taken in 3 days, or 4, or even in a year. But the Kremlin's strategists kept insisting that everything was going according to plan, on schedule.
The official military operation is proceeding according to plan. Of course, I am closely following the discussions taking place in our society and abroad. We must not keep any information hidden from the general public, and we should not deliberately withhold or conceal anything at all. But we must cover this essential work, this difficult combat mission.
Propaganda quickly changed its tune and began claiming that no one ever intended to take the capital of Ukraine, and that the occupying troops left the Kyiv area voluntarily, so to speak, as an act of goodwill.
On June 30th, as a gesture of goodwill, the armed forces of the Russian Federation completed the assigned tasks.
Russian fascist-leaning society breathed a sigh of relief and gratefully accepted the new narrative. Thanks to Putin and Solovyov, we can still consider ourselves not only great but also magnanimous. It seemed at any moment now, the scattered detachments of Banderites and Polish mercenaries, led by British spies, would falter and flee to the border with Portugal. However, instead, the Ukrainian defense forces wiped out the Russians in the Kharkiv region and drove them out of Ukrainian Kherson. In Russia, this humiliation was called a transition to more advantageous positions.
We will take decisive action consciously and at the most appropriate and effective time. We are certainly not ruling out the possibility of making the most difficult decisions.
After such dizzying successes, by the end of 2022, the world's second army, which had invaded Ukraine, had practically lost its combat capability, so the Kremlin was forced to announce mobilization. Just think about it. After half a year of trying to take Kyiv in 3 days, Russia resorted to mobilizing its population to avoid defeat in the war. Putin's New Year's address against the backdrop of people dressed up in military uniforms looked anything but victorious. The mood for the traditional Olivier salad was, to put it mildly, spoiled.
Bury it, friends. The year 2022 is coming to an end. It was a year of difficult but necessary decisions, crucial steps toward achieving Russia's full sovereignty and a powerful consolidation of our society.
Putin planned to hold a victory parade in Kyiv on May 9th, but instead got a parade on the border with Georgia and citizens fleeing from Russia. It became clear to everyone that the war would be long and bloody. There was no longer any talk of capturing all of Ukraine, not even close. Now Russians were being sent to slaughter in droves solely to save the pale leader's face. And they are still doing it because there is absolutely no point to this war. The battle for Bakhmut was a real shock for Russian society. The occupiers' losses were so enormous and the territories captured and completely destroyed were so minimal that the troops rebelled. We
are currently running extremely short on critical ammunition. 70% is gone. Sergei Shoigu, Valery Gerasimov, I'm asking you, where's the ammunition we were promised?
Wagner chief Prigozhin turned his soldiers around and led them toward Moscow. And he did so with the full support of the population and other military units. Everyone began to hope that this hell might soon come to an end.
We came here, we want to get the chief of the general staff. Write it down. Until they arrive, we will stay here. We are blocking the city of Rostov.
Support us. Are you wasting money on advertising? Faggot for agriculture, you blind for agriculture, bitch? That's filthy.
Don't cook, you.
Do you know what we're doing? Yes, don't worry. Everything is going completely fine. You must prepare yourself to fight.
Unfortunately, Prigozhin turned out to be a classic Russian slave and got scared himself when he went up against the authorities. For some unknown reason, he stopped and the rebellion was suppressed. And Prigozhin himself, together with his pet Nazi Utkin, made their final legendary flight.
No, there's probably a question hanging in the air about what happened to the company's leadership and so on. We know about the plane crash. The head of the investigative committee reported just the other day that fragments of hand grenades were found in the bodies of those who died in the plane crash. There was no external impact on the plane.
The war continued and turned into a bloody routine that ground down both Russians and the Russian economy, as well as Russia's influence in the world. With each passing day, it only gets worse. The total losses have surpassed 1 million people. Besides butter and cucumbers, the main shortage in Russia has become burial space in cemeteries.
They showed a cemetery here in Ossetia, where those guys are brought back from the war. How many are there? There's a separate cemetery. Damn, I have no words. All those who... How shall I put this to you? To put it mildly. Those responsible for the fact that all these guys, our young men, are now lying there. You are all finished, every one of you. Our government, all of you.
In the 5th year of the invasion, Moscow has not achieved a single one of its stated goals. Donbas has not been taken. Instead of denazification, Ukrainian society is more united than ever. And a huge bold cross has been placed over the Russian world.
What are the real sentiments in Ukraine? They hate us. All the polls show that they hate us, they hate our Supreme Council.
Yeah, you're an imbecile, but...
Instead of demilitarization, Ukraine has become one of the strongest military powers in the world. And Ukrainian drones and missiles are flying over Russian territory, taking out infrastructure and defense enterprises all the way to the Urals. The climax was the destruction of a factory in Udmurtia that produced Iskanders and Oreshniks. The Iskanders are definitely not laughing anymore.
We are talking about the Vodpinsky plant, a strategic defense enterprise located in Udmurtia. The publication Astra writes about this and provides data on synth analyses. In addition, local residents in Chatty claim that the attack damaged the 22nd and 36th heating plant. Crap?
Yes, what aren't you doing?
The Russian economy is in a terminal state, and even the official propaganda no longer denies it. The patient is dead, and that's a statement of fact. Everything happening now is just convulsions. The year 26 will be a fun trip back to the 1990s for Russians. Prices for food and utilities have already demoralized Russian society, and there's a scent in the air of another march for justice on Moscow.
According to the documents, the area of the premises is 78.2 square meters. So in January, we received a bill for utilities for 2 people who live here 24/7. 33,829? How is that even possible? Is it legal? Just so you understand, for the last 2 months, our utility bills have been 11 or 10 and some change. In January, 33. I'm not going to pay for this, sorry.
If you want news, just open it. Yes, take a look. Many businesses are shutting down.
Let's be honest, the international sanctions, now in the 4th and soon to be the 5th year of the war, have taken a significant effect.
Moreover, soldiers in the Russian army are also in a difficult moral state. And not just because of the huge losses, but also due to the lawlessness of the command, extortion, humiliation, and torture. And the local assaults also greatly fuel the revolutionary atmosphere.
At the moment, I am in the trenches because of the non-regulation behavior of our commanders with the call signs Ulube, Bison, and Semyon. Something very terrible is happening in the unit. That is, the personnel are being wiped out, weapons are being taken away, and money is being extorted. They have to pay money. Everything goes to the commanders. If someone doesn't pay, it means they're useless, they're not needed. So that person is sent to the front line and eliminated. This mostly happens within the unit. They personally killed several people. More than a half of our unit, about 50 people like me, were eliminated by our own commanders.
Against this backdrop, Putin is displaying astonishing levels of inadequacy. He still claims everything is going according to plan. He says he is winning everywhere and conquering everyone. Fortunately, he has an equally insane friend who knew where the attack was being prepared from and with whom he can aid. To dream a little.
Zelensky is already talking about possible strikes on the Kremlin. Does he even understand what he's playing with, in my opinion?
I'll tell you again, it's the same story. You can say and declare anything you want. But if the Kremlin strikes Bankova, what will be left there? That's why Vladimir Alexandrovich needs to calm down. There's a good offer on the table. Since
the moment those threats were made, half a year has passed. And the situation for Russia has become much worse. So all that's left for the old men is to sit on the porch and fantasize about greatness while their countries are falling apart at an incredible speed. As they say, SVO, the results.
Why hasn't anything worked out in 4 years? Because this is an insanely persistent and stubborn nation that can fight just as well as we can.
I want to remind you that this video was created for entertainment purposes and contains elements of satire and irony. All facts and events are presented in a hyperbolized or exaggerated form to convey a comedic or dramatic effect. We do not aim to mislead, but simply focus on humor. Please take this with a smile.